Welcome back to another episode of the Road to Nowhere podcast. I am Extreme. This is Jimmy G. We hope you guys will enjoy this week's show. Um, so right off the bat, we need to talk about something.
Sure.
First off, why the are your eyes dilated?
Oh, I went and had eye doctor exam today. Took my kid to the dentist, then I went and got my eyes examined, and it's been probably 12 years since I had my eyes checked. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I went ahead and told them to do the full 9 yards. So we did the exam, we did the dilation, we did the scan, like all that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Things
Oh,
look all funny, hazy, a little blurry. Right now, your red, your shirt looks like it's like a stupid highlighter, bright red orange.
that's about right.
Okay. Well, then maybe that my eyes aren't that messed up.
Uh, so, yeah, this was actually a shirt from my girlfriend for Christmas, I think.
Nice.
Anyways, so the other thing we need to talk about, last week we went on about the whole situation with Will Smith and what happened at the Oscars.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to talk too long about this again. I just want to touch on a couple things that we got wrong. More specifically, I got wrong. Number one, he had made a public apology the day of our podcast. So I didn't know about that before we did the show.
Yeah, and he
So-
also surrendered his award, like I said that he did, and
Yeah.
you weren't
And
aware
then
of.
yeah. And then apparently, I don't know when it happened, but sometime in the last few days since the podcast, he has also been permanently banned from the Oscars now.
Yeah, I tried to tell you that.
Oh. Yeah. Well, some of this stuff hadn't happened yet. Like the surrendering.
No,
he hadn't done that yet.
No, you're right. The surrendering, it didn't happen yet, but I heard about him being no longer
being
like
considered.
banned essentially
So
prior to our podcast. This is why I said it at our podcast.
yeah, well, he was banned. And he still stands by his statement that he put out. He's put out another statement since then saying that his actions have severe consequences, and he supports the decisions being made against him for what he did.
Updates.
I gotta say that
There are no
that-
Paw Patrol updates, as you know.
Yeah,
Refund
just
is less
go.
than a week.
okay. So I know this whole situation sucks for everybody involved, but for the audience watching, there were still people up until apparently last Thursday that thought the whole thing was a sham and the whole thing was a work, or I mean, using wrestling terminology here, they thought it was a bit. No one knew that this was 100% genuine for sure, apparently. And I'm like, half the freaking world knew like within 24 hours of it happening. So the fact that there are still people out there that believe this whole thing was just a bit.
Most of the world knew that it was real just a couple seconds after it happened, still during the award ceremony.
Yeah. It's one of those things that there are people that are they don't believe anything
They're
they hear or
extremists.
see on TV.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call them extremists, but they've gotten to a point where anything that comes from broadcast, whether it's television, media, news, it doesn't matter. They just take everything with a grain of salt until there's definitive confirmation. Oh yeah, this is what happened. And it's even then they still will seek out multiple sources, which I won't say is a bad thing, but when you take everything with a grain of salt, it just, yeah, I wonder if these people were around when all the stuff that happened on 9/11 were there, because I still remember, we've talked about this before, waking up that morning thinking I was watching a movie, and I'm like, oh, this is real. Like, yeah. So I wonder if those kind of people, if they saw that today, would be like, until I see 15 sources saying that this is legit, I don't believe it. Like, you kidding me? Like, that's insane. Anyways, but But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there for everybody that was watching last week or saw last week's episode. Just wanted to let you guys know we followed up on it. There's been more, and that's about the end of that. So, anywho, the other thing we talked about last week briefly was WrestleMania. Did you watch the show at all? Jimmy, you're muted.
My bad. No, I did not because we do not have Peacock Plus.
Oh man, I wish you told me. I would have hooked you up. Anyways,
Yeah.
dude, I tell you what, I will hook you up. We will talk about it another time. I
Oh,
will
you mean you're not going to do it
say-
right here on the air?
No. It's bad enough my nieces and nephew and my brother have it. No, I got no problem sharing that with you, even if it's only temporary, so you can see the show. It was really good. Both nights were really good. There were some interesting things that happened. I mean, I'm pretty sure by now you've seen some of the stuff that happened, but Steve Austin had a match.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. It wasn't up to the old Austin.
I feel like it wasn't good.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't bad. It was actually no, dude. You want to know something bad? Was watching Vince McMahon try to have a wrestling match at like what is he like 70 something, almost 80 years old?
Is he still doing that
Dude.
crap?
He hasn't in a long time. This is the first time he's gotten in the ring in I swear it's almost at least a decade. And he should have stayed out of it. However, he took so at the end of the whole bit, Austin comes back out for the second night, and he's supposed to stun McMahon. You've seen Vince take a stunner from Austin before, and he's taken some bad ones. This one, it was both the worst and the best at the same time. Like it was that bad. It was like, I just go down, just go down, just go down and roll out of the ring. But no, he still took it, and it still looked like shit. So, but it was good. It was good. The main event, the actual main event, I fully expected there to be some like tomfoolery or some like outside interference, something like that. Nope, it was a clean finish. Well, more or less, but it was a good match. I expected something a little more different than what we got. So, as a wrestling fan, I was enjoying the show, but as someone who doesn't watch wrestling as much as I used to, I very much enjoyed everything I saw. Like there wasn't one thing that completely just made me go, ugh.
That's good,
And yeah, I mean, I kind of expected that with a couple different matches. Hell, I didn't even initially see the Charlotte Flair Ronda Rousey match. That match was way better than I anticipated. A lot of people were saying, Ronda Rousey's crap in the ring. From my perspective, compared to when she last wrestled, way better. Like way better. And she was busting her butt out there too. So, but yeah, very good show all around. If you haven't seen it, like I said, go out of your way and see it. It's totally worth it. Yeah, get Peacock. That's all I'm gonna say.
Get Peacock.
But yeah. So that's about all the follow up stuff I had. Do you have anything you want to talk about this week?
No, not too much. Like the big thing that I came across this week, just to touch on, was in fact Will Smith surrendering his award, and then all the negative that came along with all that. I will touch again on Destiny 2 and Witch Queen, and how I feel like the graphics are still one of the better, like artistically created nature scenery to a game. Like the buildings, the castles, the archways, the walkways, just the plain old has no purpose tunnel. They're all very graphic, like painted. Like they're very, very nice, very well done. Now, when it comes to the story of it, I haven't really I can't really follow it too
You're
much.
lost.
Just
Yeah. A big part of
but
that problem is that you're
visually,
coming in so
it's very
late.
stimulating.
Yeah, and with the story, like I was just saying, you did come in like way late in the game, it literally, and so there's a huge chunk of the story that you can't even play anymore. Like the
Yeah,
whole point of what the storyline for the start of Destiny 2 and the subsequent DLCs. I mean, I think you just finished Forsaken a few like right before they took
I
it
don't
away.
even know if I finished it.
You did. You did. I remember you finishing it. You did. Because I was with you when you did it. So, um,
Okay.
but even then, like there's 3 other chapters and the main campaign from this game, the very first campaign, they're all gone. And there's no telling when we're gonna get them back, if we ever get them back. And it kind of sucks as someone who's trying to get people into the game, and you're like, yeah, okay, there's this and there's that. Why? Oh, there's this reason and that reason. Okay, why? And it's like, I don't go watch my name is Bife, damn it. Um, but it does suck because you're trying to explain what's going on in the game and you can't because the story just isn't there for them to experience. And so this was something that was talked about before with the sunsetting. It just sucks, I wish that hadn't been something that got cut out, but the only way they could keep the game current and updated was to cut all that stuff because that wasn't the model they wanted to keep the making the game in. And that's fine, but you got to leave something in, even if it's a cinematic for new players so they know what the hell is going on, what they've missed, so on and so forth. I don't think
Yeah.
that's there at all for you. So it's like that could be something that they easily cut together and throw that in for brand new players, if no other reason than so they know the story a little better, you know?
Right.
But other than that, we are finally on that final fight. I am definitely not doing it on a Titan because we found out the hard way yesterday that ain't gonna work. So
Well, I mean, we got really, really, really close a few times, and I think the reason why that we failed so much was just the me not knowing what to do, and as soon as I started getting into a rhythm, you were already over it, and now you're finding a reason to get away from me. Like it happens. Like I get it when you're used to
no,
doing something, and then somebody comes in and kind of ruins what you're used to. I understand. I mean, it sucks, but I get it.
so that wasn't the case. The problem was I have to remind myself repeatedly, you don't have the same gear, the same materials, the same armor, exotics, weapons, whatever. You don't have all that I have.
Right.
Much of it I can help you get, but there are some things that it's just going to be RNG, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Even if you do get these items, or when you get these items, that doesn't mean you're going to be a better player for it. It also comes with experience of just playing the game and knowing the systems, and that's something you're still learning. All of that is
Right.
just there, and I need to remind myself you're not on that level yet. You'll get there eventually. You're not there now. And so that was the thing I noticed that we were having trouble with. And then the other issue we had is that I just could not kill those damn wizards fast enough. Or get ammo for Galahorn, because Galahorn is the most effective and easiest way to fight that boss. But when you can't get ammo, got no bullets. We had her down to like that much of her health left, like the tiniest little shred. One Galahorn, she'd have been done. Didn't have the rocket, and what made it worse, you had just died. Had I had that one rocket, we would have been done. We would have been over. I would have been thrilled because I highly doubt you're going to go through that campaign again. At least not on the legendary version. At least not anytime soon. But if you do eventually, you'll have all this extra gear, so you won't be in the same position we were in yesterday. It'll be a lot easier for you because
Right.
then it's like, shit, here we go, done, problem solved.
Right.
So But that's on me, and I apologize for making that experience yesterday less than what it should have been. It also got like that was the most disheartening part. Was when we had that much health left, and I'm like, I just need one fucking rocket, and I couldn't get it done for you to help you out, and it felt like I'd failed you. But I legit did have to go yesterday when I finally was like, I gotta call it. It wasn't that I didn't want to keep doing it. Trust me, we probably would have kept going if we could have. But
Right.
I legit had to go deal with her. She came home and was not feeling good. So, but
Yeah, no, it's all good.
hopefully we can hit it today. I don't know if you're up for that. Um, no comment, so I'm assuming that's a no.
Well, I gotta figure out what's going on entirely. I'm not
Oh, I
saying
know.
no, but I also want to
You
make
don't
sure
know
that
yet.
everything else is good. Yeah.
Okay, I get you on that one, dude. So this is where I really want to open up to the people watching us if there's anything they want to hear us talk about. I have my niece and my nephew telling me that they're watching us on the podcast right now. They're watching my stream. So if either one of you have something you want to hear us talk about, understand we're old, we're not young, we don't know all the hip crazy shit you guys do. So keep that in mind. But if you have anything you want us to talk about, go ahead and send me a message. Um, and we'll see if we can accommodate you fine folks. Anywho, for those watching on Twitch, on my channel or Jimmy G's channel, or yeah, you are streaming, right?
I am right now. I only have myself in my broadcaster in the room. It's a mighty empty source right now.
I'm so sorry, dude.
It's all good. It's all good.
But if you guys are watching, you guys have anything you want us to talk about, please feel free to let me know. Hit us up in the chat and either, wherever you can, or if you have my or Jimmy G's personal information and you don't put it out there, but go ahead and hit us up privately if that makes you more comfortable.
Oh,
You
hey,
know,
look. Rev TV just said rude in my chat. Like I say rude when something is said against me. And for the record,
yeah, I
Rev,
know.
thank you for being here. I did not know you were watching. So I clicked on the little people symbol on my chat thing and it didn't say you were here. So maybe if you weren't invisible, I would know you were there and the love would come your way.
I
Anyway, so
got
yeah.
nothing, dude. So, so earlier today, so while we're waiting for someone to give us anything, um, earlier today I was, I've been streaming pretty much yesterday and today for my nieces and nephew because they're on spring break, and I was just acting an absolute fool. And I made the comment early in my stream, I had a goal today to make my nieces and nephew piss their pants, and so I just acted the absolute foolish I could. I was having a blast. I was just going off doing stupid voices, and I actually got a bunch of people I know from Facebook because they don't have Twitch accounts. They were able to watch the stream, but they don't have an account, so they couldn't message in the chat. Well, they were messaging me on Facebook through Facebook Messenger, and they were saying stuff like, "Is something wrong with you?" And I'm all, "No, I'm just entertaining children." So I was having a blast with that, man, and I won't lie. The only thing it's been said a bunch today. I need to watch my mouth a lot more because, damn, like there was a good 30 minutes where all I was saying was, one profane word after another, and even the kids were like, "Okay, Uncle Eddie, chill." So
So was it profane or was it profound?
no, it was profane, dude. Like every other word was the F word or something. It was just bam, 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 bam. I was like, "Oh my, why?" So, um, and I know that's something I need to work on. I hate to admit this, but because I spend so much time talking to the people I've talked to over the last few years, you excluded from this, it's just become part of my habit. Plus, and I jokingly say this, but my dad was a sailor in the Navy. So while he didn't have a sailor's mouth, I sure as hell do. And I don't regret that, not one bit. But I also know that profane language can be offensive to some people, and with there being a younger audience out there watching my content, I need to kind of watch my mouth more than I normally would. It is extremely hard though, because a big part of my bit is just saying what comes out of my mouth, period, and not giving a you know what.
You know what's funny about that
It's
statement? What's funny about that
what's
statement?
that?
Rev, okay, my best friend, not gonna lie, okay, he told me that I make a great best friend because I am apparently a friend filter. Like, I don't have one, and I'm not afraid to be a jerk. So me being me is his filter because he doesn't want to watch what he has to say.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But uh, yeah, no, I was having a blast with that, man, and I'm thrilled that the kids get to finally get to see my streams, uh, because I I love these kids to death, and I spent so much time with all three of them, specifically the oldest one. And I did
Mm.
drop two of their names by accident. It just came out, and I'm like, oh, I'm such a dead man later. My brother's gonna kill me. I've yet to get a text saying you're dead. So I'm assuming everything's okay so far, but I don't know. We'll find out. I'm pretty sure I will eventually get a talking to for that, which is hilarious to me. It's like I
I'm
joke
surprised
when
you
I
don't
say
get
these
any
things.
talking. Yeah, no, no, no. I'm surprised you don't get any talking to about how you talk about him talking to you.
I love my brother. He's so all jokes aside here, my brother Eric, he's the middle of the three of us. There's me, Eric, Elliot. Elliot and I are taller than Eric. I'm taller than Eric by like 2, 3 inches. Elliot's taller than him by like an inch and a half, 2 inches, whatever. And for
I would
years,
still call Eric in a fight.
against two.
You or Elliot.
Yeah, you haven't seen the fights I've had with Eric. They don't go well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I've had to stop myself. Like legit. Like I've been in fights with Eric when we were younger. I don't want to fight him now. I know right now, if we got into a fight, God's honest truth, he'd kick my ass. I know it. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I would take him, but I would take a part of him with me because that's just how I am, dude.
we
Like,
we got
I,
we got a Mike Tyson in the house. Let me get that ear, Vander.
pretty much. But no, I know for a fact my brother could kick my ass right now because I'm in the worst shape I've ever been in my life, and there's no excuses for that. Even if I got into shape, well, no, I think if I got into shape, I'd kick his ass 5 times over. But I would have to get in really good shape, which wouldn't take much to outdo my brother because he's kind of, I kid you not,
Round is a shape,
he,
bro. Round is a shape.
I know I used to say it a lot. Anyways, he is, I don't know what happened, but in the time since we moved from San Diego to Montana, he
Yeah.
put on a bunch of weight. I saw that when I went to see him, and even before when he came up back in 2020 with all the stuff going on with my dad, and I saw him and I'm like, dude, what happened? And I say this sincerely because I was worried about him. And as it turns out, it's not that he isn't eating right or, taking care of himself. He is doing that. It's just he does spend a lot of time sleeping because he doesn't get to. Like he is working so damn much. He's working two
Oh
jobs,
yeah.
dealing with his three kids, and it's like I
Yeah,
can see
body
him.
hormone chemical imbalance can make you gain weight so easy.
Yeah, and then stress, all that, and I get
Yeah.
it. It's finally getting to a place where the stress is going away. He's doing better. I hope. I haven't spoken to him in a while, unfortunately, but it's not that I don't want to. It's just every time me and my brother have talked in the last 2 years, it always ends up with us fighting, and I don't like that. The exception to that was whenever we're in person. Like if we're on the phone, the two of us try to bow up and be the bigger, tougher guy, and it's like, nah. But we're in person, that just goes away. Because, especially now that we're so far away from each other, we're just happy to be in each other's company. Um, but I love my brother to death and I miss him very much. And he did scare me. But one thing that he made very clear is that the last time he and I did talk is that things are getting better. There was some stuff going on. I think I mentioned it to you privately, that had, caused some concern, but to the best of my knowledge, that's not a thing. That's not something that he needs to worry about or stress about. So that's helped him out some more. But I know he's lost weight, not a lot, but he's getting better, and I'm thrilled to hear that because Eric, for the bulk of our lives, was a skinny little shit. He was short, skinny, weak, scrawny, and it was actually you, Dave, all those guys that kind of gave Eric this kick in the ass without even doing it, that made him go, yeah, no, these guys aren't going to have my back in a fight. So I best, start doing something about it because I'm probably going to piss one of them off and they're going to kick my ass.
It's
I
kind of funny
know.
you say that because I feel like he knew that Dave, myself, Beeve, Fish, anybody else who was doing it would have had his back in a fight.
That's the thing. Hang on. I misspoke. And that's why I try to correct it. The thing Eric always had, and he's known this, he has a mouth. He says shit, and sometimes he says things he shouldn't say, and he pisses people off. He did it with Dave a couple times. And it was actually one of those incidents with Dave that it made him go, oh, fuck. He would kill me. He would literally snap me in half. And so he started to lift weights and start, getting himself stronger. My brother was never like a wimp. He was never like weak into that regard. But my brother never had to have a fight when we were kids because I was the big brother, and the way I was raised is you protect your little brothers no matter what. So I fought all of Eric's battles. Did not win all of those battles, but I never got knocked down. I always got up, and the people that were having a problem with Eric stopped having a problem with him. That being said, Eric, until that day with Dave, never thought he had to really worry about it, I guess. Like in the back of his mind, he always thought he had that safety net. Well, I wasn't going to fight Dave. Not over something stupid. Eric ran his mouth. Good luck. I know you did. But I think I was there for one of those incidents. Because there were a couple that I know of.
No, there was one legit. He and I didn't know each other yet. We weren't friends yet. Something happened with his sister. You know what I mean? And yeah, he and I almost physically went to blows about it. And then ended up becoming the best of best friends.
For a long time.
Long time.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so that was the thing. And that was the day that Eric kind of was just like, yeah, no, I don't want to ever feel that intimidated again. And so he started, lifting weights and like getting his body in a point where he felt like basically like you, me, and others have felt most of our lives. Like we're not small guys. We were always big, intimidating looking dudes. You didn't want to fuck with us, especially when it was you, me, Dave in a group. Dude, it was always funny to watch people look at us and kind of like, oh shit, who did we piss off? Because I swear we got those looks a couple times when we went to.
Oh yeah,
we would go out to do stuff. It was hilarious for me.
So Dave and I always had resting asshole face and never really realized it. Like the other day, I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, I look like a fucking dick. Like, do I always look like this? My wife's like, yes.
I love you,
dude, you just learned that? What the hell's wrong with you? Yeah.
Dude, you want to know what sucks? I found that out when I was working at Best Buy years ago. And I think I've told this story in a video, but I don't know if I ever told you the story. So I had a job interview before I left San Diego at Sears out in El Cajon. And I'm in the group interview. So I basically had the job. All I had to do was get through the group interview. But as I'm sitting there, I'm telling everybody, because they're talking about how you have to have a smile on your face, you have to look approachable and stuff like that. And me being the only person in the room that had ever worked retail, I'm like, yeah, I've actually had customers come up and tell me in the past, I have a look on my face that says, I will fucking kill you. I said that in the group interview. Obviously, that's what ended my run there before it even got started. But it's the truth. If you work retail, you cannot have an angry face or you will get, let go. in my case, you never get a chance to start. So, but I found that out, and I was like, I found that out working at Best Buy. Like the customer came up to me and was like, "Hey, how's your day going?" And I'm like, "Good." Oh, okay, cool. You look like you were pissed off and about to kill somebody, and I'm all, "No, just doing my job. What can I help you with?" And then I smile, and so the guy's like, "Okay, more approachable," and I'm like, "All right, you're starting to piss me off now." So,
Here, you got your fucking smile. Now get the hell away from me, you jerk.
but it's true though. Like I have that same thing, so I know it. Eric doesn't. Elliot doesn't. I don't know why I have it. My dad kind of had a more of a like okay, like real passive. But me, no, fuck you, fuck off, leave me alone, go away. Like that was the look on my face for years. I still have it. Like Kim the other day was like, "Are you mad?" No, I'm just sitting here watching TV. Oh, you look really mad, and I'm all resting asshole face. I think so, and I'm like, all right, sorry. so
Well,
you
there's a
mentioning it, I'm
difference.
like,
Yeah, there's a difference between resting angry face and resting asshole face. Like if I got a
like
resting angry face, I'm like this. You know, resting asshole face is just
like fuck with me, I dare you.
what?
Yeah,
What do you want?
yeah.
My brow's not furrowed. I just look like a dick.
But oh
It's
man,
hard to do when
so
you got a smirk on your face, though.
I don't want to talk too much about this. In fact, I really don't want to talk about it again. We've talked about it enough before, but I do want to make mention that the situation in oh god, I can't even remember the name of it. Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that so much as I just want the people that are there that are getting out or that are from there. Um, I can't believe this stuff that's coming out like we're hearing about now. Like I don't know if you've heard about it. It's heartbreaking to hear about this stuff, and it's also like terrifying that to find out this stuff was encouraged by the higher ups, if you will. And it's like that's nuts.
I
And I'm being
haven't
cryptic
heard of
for a reason.
anything. Yeah, I haven't heard anything that's been going on over there. Which is what with you being cryptic, I don't know. I have a clue what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Last stuff that I've heard is like Russia's military is dwindling rapidly because their Ukraine is actually acting stronger than they thought they would. So they're
Oh yeah.
Russia thought they were going in there just to and
Just stomp
the
them
Ukraine
and
was
walk
like,
away, but
I'm at least gonna give you a black eye for this. Like, F you, bro.
they've given them more than a black eye.
But that's what I
They've
mean.
done a hurt.
That's what I
Yeah,
mean. Like
but no,
Russia thought they were just gonna be the big boss of the bar, and Ukraine said,
I
nah.
will put it this way: for those that are old enough to understand what's going on, if you've been kind of avoiding information or just not really looking for it,
I
go out of
just
your
don't
way
look
to see
for
what's
it.
going on. Yeah, like go out of your way to hear about what's going on because it's now involved like serious like there are serious charges that have been brought up. And I mean it was bad enough that this whole thing started with what came out in the last, I think it was like the last week or so. It's only gotten worse for Russia to the point now where I can see Russia being alienated from pretty much the entire world.
Hmm.
Even their allies are having a problem kind of like supporting with what's happened. Like it's gotten that bad. So, yeah. Um but again, my thoughts and prayers are with anyone over there that has family over there. I wish this I kind of hope this situation would have been resolved one way or another sooner, but that hasn't been the case. So it's heartbreaking that it's gone on this long, but it sounds like you were saying, you know, that it is coming to an end soon because they've pretty much knocked them on their ass to the point of no return. So I don't see Russia continuing this for much longer because I don't think they have the resources anymore. I think they've run out. And with no one really backing them anymore after what came out the last few days or the last week or so, it's like, yeah, no, they're pretty much done. So we'll see what happens in the next week or two. But I just wanted to touch on that briefly, to see if you'd heard anything or read any of the news coming out about what happened and whatnot, and the charges against Russia and the military.
I don't see I haven't seen that yet. I don't see that yet, but I did see posted 2 hours ago. It says that Russian troops were withdrawn from parts of the Ukraine.
Yeah, and I think
So I
part of
mean,
that is
it looks
due
like part of
active.
them are leaving.
Well, I think part of that is due to the recent peace talks that they're trying to broker. But I think so. I'll stop being cryptic. Russia is being accused of severe war crimes.
Yeah, I
Um,
see that, but I don't see what the crimes are. But they were talking about the
yeah,
invasion act was a war crime in general, period. Anyway.
yeah. Well, it's gotten worse. Like, if you get a chance, like I said, go through and read all that. It's gotten really bad. Like, really, really bad. Like, some of the charges that have been brought up in the last week or so are insane. Um, it's it's almost like someone gave the order for the Russian military to act like it was the purge over there. So yeah, that's the easy. Like, I know you'll get that reference, but I do know that there are younger people watching, so I don't want to talk too much more about this. But
Right. No, you're
yeah.
good.
So yeah, and that's one thing that for the younger audience, whether you're my niece's nephew, whatever, and anyone else, you should go out of your way to kind of, if nothing else, just kind of glance at what's going on in the world around you every now and again. Don't put a lot of stock into it, even if it's happening unless it's happening directly in your next door, or in your backyard or your neck of the woods or whatever. Don't get too riled up about what's going on in the world unless you have a definitive, you know, desire to do something to help.
Yeah, I mean, rumor had
Otherwise,
it that the Ukraine was taking people from all over the country and world if they wanted to become citizens there to join their army, and they would citizenize you.
yeah, I heard that rumor. I don't know if it's true. I've seen no such thing as being
I
true, but
I think it might have been
it might have
because
been at a time.
part of I'd say part of when it came to my attention, I think I was in New York, and I think it was my wife that said it, and so who knows?
Well, hey, it worked in their favor if that's the case, because they've been kicking ass and taking names since. I mean, pretty much the entirety of this, they've been kicking ass and taking names. They haven't just been some, small little group that got their asses handed to them real fast. Like,
Right.
they've put a hell of a fight. I mean, it's in a way it's awesome to see that, because so many people were like, "Oh God, this is horrible. They're just gonna get stomped. Oh look, that didn't happen. What the hell?" Like, it took everybody, a lot of people, by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
That the Ukraine has put up such a fight, but it's like they didn't get their independence just to be forced back into this with Russia. So they're not going to give up until they have no other option. Clearly, they have options. So, um, moving on though. So let's see. We talked about the Will Smith thing. We talked about that. That. Yep, talked on that. All right, I got nothing.
All right.
that hasn't happened before.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, it's all good.
Oh man, I don't. I want to talk about Wonderlands because I'm avoiding. And it's not so much Wonderlands; it's entertainment and this aspect of, there are people like myself who can't afford to go to movies and go and buy video games when they first come out or whatever, and they have to wait and they have to go out of their way to avoid spoilers. I don't mind that part because that's part of the deal. Like, hey, if I want this spoiled, I can get it spoiled. I had the end of Avengers Endgame, the entire plot of the movie, it ruined for me intentionally, because I went out of my way to read the synopsis, the plot, on Wikipedia like 2 days after it came out. But then there's stuff like Wonderlands where I'm going out of my way to avoid spoilers of just anything having to do with the game. It's tiring trying to avoid that. Um,
yeah.
Have you ever been in that experience before where you had to go out of your way to avoid like having anything that you really
Yeah.
wanted to see spoiled?
Yeah, of
How hard was
course.
that for you?
Dude, it was brutal. So when I was really into watching UFC fights, like really, really into it, I would buy every event. You know what I mean? Like that was my niche.
Yeah.
Um, there were I think the Ultimate Fighter TV show came on at certain times that I couldn't watch it because of work. And I would go to work, and people that would come in the to relieve me would start talking, and I'm like, dude, shut up. Or I'll go downstairs on my lunch break, and they'll have that on the TV downstairs. But since I can only stay for 15 minutes, I'm like going out of my way. I'm like, now I can't go on break. When these people, I have to know, I knew I had to avoid certain people, so I didn't hear about the fight the night before or even earlier that day, because I knew they were as big as fans as I was, and they talked to people on their own shift and everything. It's all a part of popularity. If something's
Yeah.
popular and you can't physically do what it is right there when it first comes out, and there are hundreds of people that can, you may happen to know five of them, and you're going to be at the same house with those five people, but you can't see it for another day. You're like, "Fuck, do I even go?" Like,
Yeah.
I understand. I get it. I've been there.
Yeah, I've had that a few times. Spider-Man, uh the last one, the one that just came out. I had to go out of my way to have that spoiler free, and I still had some stuff spoiled. By the way, um I don't have a problem talking about it now. A movie is like it's out on digital. So if you haven't seen it yet or had the opportunity to see it, go ahead and click off now because I'm about to talk about it. You have 3 seconds. Three, two,
Before
one.
he says that,
Okay.
give them a couple of extra seconds longer.
Oh.
Anyway, go
Well,
ahead. What were you gonna say?
the very first thing that I had spoiled was the Matt Murdock appearing in literally the first 5-10 minutes of the film. And there was a lot of questions from people watching it because, as far as we knew for the longest time, the Netflix Marvel series, the Daredevil, was not considered canon to the Marvel Cinematic. Well, that's now changed because, and this is one thing I did want to bring up, they've brought all of those over to Disney Plus. They're all now on Disney Plus. You can watch them, and some of them have been censored somewhat. There are some things that have been changed, either through digital means or they just cut stuff out. And I find it fascinating that that's what's going on. Like this whole world that people were told will never be part of the cinematic universe is now not only a part of it but considered canon. And so this brings up a lot of questions for people like, well, what does this mean for those characters, for those actors as well? Are they going to be brought back? Apparently, they are in production on a new Daredevil that picks up sometime after the last season aired. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those shows.
I haven't. I know people
Yeah.
who've seen it. I like Daredevil, but I like Ben Affleck as Daredevil. And I mean that's just personal preference. I feel like that's the way that Daredevil was supposed to be for me. And I heard that the Netflix one was very like moody, dark and broody. So it's like
Um,
I don't know if I necessarily want to
it,
see it. I tried, but then it was like, eh.
I honestly saw most of it kind of, and I hate to say it, but I saw it in fast forward because I was always trying to play catch up. Um, but what I did see, I enjoyed. I did watch the entirety of Iron Fist. I enjoyed that show a lot. They're not bringing that back. I don't think that was added to the Disney Plus either. I think that show was kept out, but the actor was that role was still featured in the Defenders. And I'm sitting here though, and I'm watching all this and reading all the stories coming out about what's going on and how all this stuff is being made canon. And I'm curious how much of that we're going to see in the actual, you know, Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward, especially with, you know, Doctor Strange coming out like soon, isn't it? Or isn't it already out?
No, I don't think so.
Nice to blitz you. Hello too. Um, yeah, I've been watching that, and I'm like, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen in the very near future with that, because there's so much that they could do, and there's still so much that they're working on. Like new Moon Knight just came out. I
Right.
haven't seen any of it because my girlfriend's making me wait. Um, we watched all of the Hawkeye, which that was freaking. I thought that story was amazing. Um, I thought it was well done. It was very entertaining, but that was also they had oh man, what's his name? The actor that played Kingpin on Daredevil
Mhm.
was brought in to play Kingpin on Hawkeye, and
I can't
so
remember his name.
he was also on.
I can see his face, but I just can't remember
He
his
was
name.
on Law and Order. I know the actor's like I know his name. I just can't off the top of my head remember it. But they brought him back in for Hawkeye to be Kingpin, and apparently they've already greenlit a second season of that, which is awesome because I thought Hawkeye was a one-off and that was it. I thought the same for Loki. We're not getting the second season of Loki until it's gonna be a while. So that kind of sucks. I enjoyed that show. I don't know if you've seen that.
No.
Yeah, there's so much like Marvel stuff that just I love everything they've done. I do have my little complaints about little things like tiny little issues, but with so much now at their disposal, they have all of X-Men back. They have the whole mutant series, the whole concept of mutants. Everything is now at Disney's disposal for that. And I'm really interested to see where they go over the next few years. They've told us their roadmap for the most part, but everything's subject to change. You know, they could, especially after what just came out as well. And this was another thing I forgot I wanted to talk about and I didn't write it down. Um, Apparently Disney will no longer, as of like sometime very soon, they will no longer be doing remakes of any kind, even of their own stuff. Like they won't even do live action remakes going forward because it was a directive set by Walt Disney himself before he passed. And apparently they didn't know about this until very recently. So,
And what is this you're talking about?
okay, this is so apparently, and I don't know if this has been confirmed 100%. I can't remember where I saw this, but I know I read this in an article in the last like day or two. Apparently, sometime either May of this year or next year, I'm not sure when, Disney will no longer be making any more remakes of Disney products, like at all. They won't make live action versions anymore. That'll all stop. Although
Oh,
I
I
don't
see
know
what
if
you're
you can
saying.
call that technically a remake, but they're not going to be doing any more remakes of any kind going forward because prior to his passing, Walt Disney, the original founder and creator of the Disney production company, has had a directive in his will that said the company cannot make remakes, only original products. You know, um, taking adaptations are one thing, which that's probably how they'll get away with doing the live action stuff, is it's a live action adaptation as opposed to a remake. Um, but even then, it's like you're still not going to see any more remakes. Thus, the whole recently redone Cheaper by the Dozen never would have happened if they had known about that. Hell, I don't even think the original, the Steve Martin version, which isn't the original, but the the whole concept of it never would have happened, which sucks because I really enjoyed Steve Martin's portrayal in that film, and I thought that film was awesome. I wish they'd done a third one. They did two, and that was it. Did you ever see those?
No.
Dude, they're freaking hilarious. You know who Steve Martin is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would, if you haven't seen it, I recommend watching it. I'm a little biased considering the family's name was something. Never mind. Um, but it's just I don't know. Something about it. Like I really enjoyed those movies a lot, and I'm saddened that they're not going to do any more remakes like that. But at the same time, I'm thrilled because I'm tired of seeing remake after remake of films, and to know that Disney themselves will no longer be making remakes of, you know, things they've already done. And they own a huge library now with the Fox film library now in their possession. That means those films will not get remade, which kind of sucks too, because
Yeah, you
there's
would
some
think they can make some, like Flight of the Navigator, for example, being an old movie created in the 80s. I bet you if they remade it, it could be so much
today.
better today. Yeah,
Oh
it could
yeah.
be so much better
The
today.
thing is, the thing is, I don't know if I would want that.
Oh, I don't
But
either,
at
but
the
I'm
same
just saying,
time,
like, it's
I
now
wouldn't
no
be
longer a
opposed to
valuable
it,
option.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, yes, as far as a remake, they couldn't do it, but maybe they could do a sequel. And I know that sounds like
Oh,
a
you're gonna see a
bizarre
lot of
concept, but
sequels and prequels and
yeah. And I would be okay with that as long as they expand on the story instead of just try and recreate it. I would be fine with that. I'd rather they do that because I think that would be more appealing than just remaking stuff. They remade Lethal Weapon into a series. I won't lie, I liked the original, like the first season or two
I
of
feel
that
like
show.
I was say I feel like a season of a TV show of Lethal Weapon would be a lot of fun. I haven't seen it.
The
I
first two
forgot that
seasons
they
were
did it.
really, yeah, the first two seasons were really
I'm
good,
getting
and then
too
there
old
was
for
something
this
that happened.
stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know who it was, but it was one of the Wayans brothers that played Murtaugh. And so, yeah, it was good. It was really well done. I liked it a lot. Since you haven't seen it, I won't spoil anything. But
Oh, I'm the
the
guy where I don't really care what's spoiled or not spoiled. Like
well
I
for
knew that
those,
all the Spider-Mans were in the Spider-Man movie without ever seeing Spider-Man the
oh
day
yeah,
after Spider-Man was released, and I didn't ask for it. Somebody was like, "Hey, so have you seen this?" I'm like, "No." Well, have you seen this? No. Have you seen the new Spider-Man? No, not yet, but I like them, so I'm going to go. Dude, I got to hear your opinion. What you say when all the Spider-Mans come in, like the Spider-Verse? I'm like, I should punch you in the face. I've only had one movie ruined, and you're gonna hear a sound in just a moment. But I only had one movie ruined, and that was Harry Potter. When my wife, as we're walking out of the theater from seeing episode like the fourth movie, it might have been the Goblet of Fire, I don't know. We're walking out, and she's like, "I still can't believe Snape killed Dumbledore." I'm like, "Excuse me, what?" Yeah,
yeah. Because I think the book had come out. Because Eric did the same thing to me.
yeah, that's exactly what it
And I
was. The
was
book in
like,
this,
yeah.
man.
And I remember sitting there going, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Never mind." And I was like, "How do you know that?" He goes, "It's in the book." And I just kind of, uh, well, I mean, you're not going to be able to avoid that. That's going to be out there. Like, someone's going to
You
say something.
can if people don't, like, if the readers keep the material to themselves. But that was the
Yeah.
only movie that was quote unquote ever like ruined, because I was so intent in figuring that out. It was like Lord of the Rings, the first Lord of the Rings movie. I started off like this. This is a visual for all you guys watching. I started out like this. By the end of the movie, I was like this.
For the record, all we saw at our end was just your mouth. Anyways,
Yeah. No, no,
um,
no. That was on purpose. Like that was my my dad came to me and he was like, "What?" Because my exact words when that happened is, "What the fuck was that?" My dad's like, what? You want to sit there for another 3 hours?" I'm like, "Yeah." And just so you guys know, for the record, when those words came out of my mouth, I never cuss in front of my dad, because the one time I said something remotely close to a cuss word, I got hit.
well, the thing was, when Lord of the Rings came out, you were what, like in your 20s at that point?
17, 18, 19. I don't know, something like that.
No, like the what is his name?
I might have been
Um,
I might have been over 18.
dude, I worked at the theater when the first movie came out. The live action ones with
Yeah.
that were done by what's his name? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, dude, you were in your 20s.
Okay,
you're
well,
like
whatever.
at least 20 something. But the thing is, I'm not talking shit. What I'm getting at, so our audience understands, that's the respect that this gentleman has for his father. Also, maybe a little bit of fear. Because
No, I
your
don't.
dad
I don't
does not
fear.
seem
I
like
don't
a bad
fear
guy.
my dad. I don't fear my dad. I
True.
respect my dad.
Yeah,
Other
but
people
no.
fear my dad.
I think I've seen your dad mad once, just like with your mom. I've only seen them mad once, and I'm like, hell no.
I had my
I'm glad I
mom.
wasn't the reason they were mad.
I've had my mom so mad that she actually said to me, "Get out of my house, you son of a bitch." And I looked at her square in her face and I said, "Mom, do you realize you just called yourself a bitch?" She was like, "Yes, I do. Now get out."
I would have been dying. Um. Anyways, I seriously would have been dying on the floor. I'd have been like, dude, why are you digging a deeper hole? Um. I think we're gonna call it there, you guys. As always, we are all over the place this week's episode, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let us know. You can check us out on Twitch over at, well, if you're watching already, you know where to find us on Twitch. But you can also find Jimmy G on Facebook at the Jimmy G Experience. You can also find myself on YouTube at Extreme FTW or Extreme FTW Entertainment, I think, or gaming, one of those three.
I think
What's
it's
your
gaming.
YouTube? Yeah. What's your YouTube?
Um, I don't know. I usually put like the hyperlink in the chat like before my stream starts. But it's some weird. It just says channel UCGE blah 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 blah. But you
What's
can
your
find it
channel
under
name?
Jimmy G Experience, or I think you can look me up by name with James Gardner.
Yeah. So yeah, you can. That's how you look it up.
Like it's
But check us
stupid.
out.
The URL code, you would think if my name is the Jimmy G
Well,
Experience,
that's
I
the
could
thing.
use the Jimmy G Experience.
Here's the thing. Did you know you can change your name and everything on YouTube?
Yeah, but the URL, like a channel URL, I have no
You
idea how to
can
change that.
change once you have reached a certain like point of being active. Like as long as your channel is active for a certain amount of time, you can claim your URL for your
Ah,
channel name. But it's a
okay.
one-time thing. So when you do it, like mine is permanently Extreme FTW Gaming. But once you claim that URL, it's permanent. Like you cannot take another one. You can't change it, even if you change your name. My channel is
Yeah,
now Extreme FTW. My Twitch is Extreme FTW Gaming. My YouTube page is Extreme FTW Gaming. But
gotcha.
I do all kinds of different stuff on both platforms. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. We are gonna be calling it there for the evening, for the week. We will catch you guys next week for more, and hopefully next week we actually have a solid topic or a couple of them to talk about. Although some tells me the world is about to drop just gold in our laps. I don't know why. I just feel it coming.
Me.
Again, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Until then, adios.